Hello again, everybody. This is Dan Clouser, and welcome back to the Journey My Mother's Son podcast. Today I'm joined with my special guest host, my beautiful wife, Sandy, and our good friends, Phil and Shar from A Year to Volunteer. This is their second time on the show. A little bit different dynamic this time because Sandy and I have volunteered on two of their projects, where the first time it was really kind of a fact-finding mission and an opportunity for them to tell their story. And, thanks for joining the show again, guys.
Thanks for having us back again. It's great to see you.
Great to see you as well. So, like I said, we've been on two volunteer projects now. We first connected back in April, I think, is when we did that first podcast. So how many projects have taken place since that podcast? You guys were in Montana at that time at Antigo State Park, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
6 more since then.
Yeah, so we roughly hit one project per month, but we did have a couple of month break in the June-July timeframe because we had a project scheduled in Hilton, Oklahoma, which got postponed. So 6 projects, is that what it is?
I said, yeah, Montana, Wyoming, Nebraska, Antigo, Wisconsin,
Hilton,
Oklahoma, and Arizona. So we've done 6 more since.
Yeah, it's been crazy. And I mean, the most snow we've ever gotten on our rig was in Wyoming.
In May. It's supposed to be springtime, people.
So we totally messed up the 70-degree curve thing there.
We failed miserably at that this year. Miserably.
But it has been a crazy journey all across the U.S. since then.
We just watched that. I watched it. I watched a bunch of them the other day.
Yeah. The one with the snow in Wyoming was definitely, we were kind of glad that was a project we missed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We still have our heaters out too. So we still got heaters all located, we got small little 250 watt heaters. So because we didn't want to have to go uproot ourselves and go find propane. But if we were going to run the generator, we were going to run our heaters. So we have these little space heaters, and there's little 250 watt space heaters that if you dot around the coach, that it does a pretty good job of heating, and it doesn't like tax a one circuit of 110. But that was a great. And then, of course, your installed heat pumps on the roof, they don't work really that well below 36 degrees. So we were down in the single digits and the low teens. So we fired those things up and used the space heaters wherever we could. I think I probably put close to 100 hours on the generator just that 2-week period.
Probably. Yeah, it was cold. I mean, yeah, we had long johns and layers and scarves and hats and gloves. Yeah, we were like, what were we thinking? Whose idea was this? Oopsie.
Yeah, anytime it goes below 50.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Oh, yeah. Amen, sister. That is me. I'm wearing my long pants and my sweaters at 50 degrees. And people are like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, I'm a summer girl.
And the reason that we do that is because we want to support state parks, the nonprofits, out of their peak season, mostly parks. So we tell them we will come when you need us. And so there's got to be a window there. It can't be, we can't be boondocking in 95-degree heat, and we can't be boondocking exclusively in the Arctic zone. But we got close in Wyoming, but there were plenty of nice warm days too. So we do that to at the benefit of the park that we're volunteering at. We want to make sure that we're there. It's not in the most optimal peak season. It's like either to the left or to the right of it when they have a place for us to park and we have access to all the stuff that we can do without impacting their guests. So that's why we end up in cold weather volunteer project.
That's why we're going to Michigan in April. And I am really hoping and praying already that groundhog does not see his shadow that year, because that could be really cold.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's a couple weeks right before they open. So it was peak time for them to get everything they needed done before, again, their busy season hits. So yeah, we take one for the team every now and again when we have to.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that though. So another cool thing that has transpired since our initial podcast and since we started volunteering with you guys is you have officially become a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Tell me a little bit about that process and why you guys thought it was beneficial to become a 501c3?
Really great question. At first, kind of rewinding 2 years, we really thought it was just going to be Phil and I, going to places along the way and just kind of stopping and going to a food bank and stopping at a women's shelter and going to a animal shelter. And then, we found a whole lot of
shot. Yeah.
Yes, we thought it was just going to be us kind of a place here and there and kind of adding a little fulfillment to our journey. And then we found a whole lot of other RVers kind of want to join and do the same thing. And it's funny because most people don't want to put it together. They don't want to plan. They don't want to organize. They just want to show up and grab a hammer and do something, purposeful. So fast forward, we've had like 250 unique volunteers. So by that, I mean, we would count you guys one time, even though you've been to multiple projects. We've had over 400 that have come to all of our projects combined, but about 250 unique. And that's a lot of people that want to help out. And our big picture mission is that we want to be able to self-fund our projects. We want to pay for parking. We want to pay for tools and supplies. We want to supply a few meals. And we really want to try and impact the revenue of the places that we're going to as little as possible.
We also have a lot of people who would love to volunteer, but they can't. And so we've had people reach out to us and say, how else can we help? And so people have sent us gift cards, and they've sent us they've given us cash here and there to fund meals and sort things like that. But we've always used right back into the projects. But by becoming a 501c3, now it's a tax deductible donation. If they qualify for the beyond the standard deduction, they can donate, and they can help us fund this mission that we're on. Because like Shar said, our goal is to self-fund. We would love to come in and bring funding and material and supplies, as well as the volunteers. When we were in Antigo, Wisconsin, if you remember, because you guys were there, we would go to the front desk and say, okay, we need to order these supplies from Menards, a lot of lumber and things like that. And we watched the staff whip out a card, and then they would swipe it. I don't know if those were gift cards, Visa gift cards, or what they were, but we tapped out a couple of the cards while they were there, and then they had to set that aside and grab another card and swipe that. They've got so much important work on their hands. Wouldn't it be great if we could come in and fund some of the lumber purchases and all that other stuff to truly make a difference? So it's beyond labor. It's coming in with material, tools, and supplies as well.
Yeah, so this allows people all over the place to participate in a slightly different way. A lot of times people want to join us, but they're not going to be in the same, place, or that week doesn't work for them. So it just allows people to be a part of something bigger than themselves that they still believe in, and just, a little bit of a different way of participating.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that concept. And, I do think that the one attraction, obviously for us, is the fact that we can come in and you guys pretty much tell us where to go and what to do. I spent 30 years being the organizer. So, to not have that on my plate is incredibly attractive. So how did it evolve from, because Sandy and I have done different things outside of what we do with you guys. Like even, this Saturday, we're helping a friend of ours here in Houston with a turkey giveaway. So we've kind of have done what you guys started out to do, but how did it evolve from just you guys showing up at an animal shelter to organizing 30 volunteers for a project?
It was hilarious because when we were getting ready for our full-time journey, it was about October of 2019. So several months before we were getting on the road, I asked to have a guy come over to give me a solar quote, and he was a full-time RVer. And he's done a lot of RVers solar installations. So I asked him to come over because he was in the valley, and he came over and he brought a buddy of his to take a look at our rig and give me a quote. And that buddy of his was Tony Flamia, who's got a page on Facebook called Full-Time RV Family Life, and he's also their marketing guy for the Big Red Schoolhouse, or the National RV Training Academy down in Athens, Texas. and he hadn't done that. He wasn't doing that yet, although he was familiar with Athens and that. But he came over and he says, "So what are you guys going to do?" And we said, "We're gonna do this. We're gonna visit and volunteer in every state." And he goes, "Oh man, there's probably RVers who would love to join you. And so what if we do a little bit of a campaign to see if anyone wants to join you?" And we said, "All right." And so I went out and on my personal Facebook page and asked everybody if anyone knew of a project that needed like a state park or somewhere that needed some help. And we found Florida Cavern State Park in Marianna, Florida. And from that moment forward, we met again at our village rally 2 hours away. And then we met Phil and Stacy from You, Me, and the RV, and we saw Tony Flammia again. We made connections, and then right after that rally, we organized the project and went in with 39 people.
And that was the first one, and that kind of is what changed the course of YTV.
Yeah, we didn't realize that we'd have that many. In fact, we actually had more rigs show up than we had planned because they showed up, they'd heard about us, and they just showed up. And we're like, whoa,
where'd you come from? You're coming, okay. Come on in.
And we looked at each other and we said, there's no going back.
Yeah.
So our next project was a small one in Rockport, Texas, and that was only 11 volunteers, but it still was impactful. Mm-hmm. And then we went into Alabama, and then the snowball effect started happening. And next thing you knew, we were doing bigger and bigger and bigger projects. So we realized that we had tapped into this relatively untapped well of capacity within the RV community. And we realized that we could do so much more than we thought we could with this great, wonderful RV community. And it's been amazing ever since. We're not sick of it yet.
I hope not, because we have like 36 states still to go.
That's so cool. And I love how, it was kind of organic, how it just grew and has continued to grow. And now you guys have really embraced it. And, what's one of your favorite parts of us being involved with?
Just getting to know other RVers with the same goal, I guess, and to help give back.
That's so cool. I mean, to be able to, meet people who have the same like-minded interests. I mean, when we got to Antigo, we were a week late, and you guys, threw us in right from the start, and made sure everybody knew who we were and introduced us to everyone. And so I think from a volunteer's perspective, you guys make it very easy to include everyone and make everyone feel like they're part of the group. And I think that's one of the reasons why the success has been what it's been for you guys, is really the culture that you guys promote. And what because obviously that's intentional. I can see that's intentional on your end. I mean, even when we got to Picacho State Park, I mean, right away you're introducing us to Juan and Jeff and Susan and everybody that's there. You're like, hey, come here, we want you to meet these guys. We want you to meet these guys. This is Domino's Uncle Jeff, and so why is it so important to you guys to create that culture, that family-like culture?
I would just say that first off, when people come to a Year to Volunteer project, you automatically have three things in common, regardless of whether or not you know it. And we think it's kind of a special thing where you can show up to a group of strangers and you instantly have three things in common. You're an RVer, you like to travel, and you clearly want to give back because you wouldn't be here otherwise.
Totally.
And, I kind of feel like it's we're all in this together thing. And we want everyone to feel like you're welcome and you're so appreciated for coming and for helping. And every skill set is appreciated. If it's, using a wire brush to scrape off rust, or if it's grabbing a paintbrush, or if it is building something, every single one of those items is important. And we've got this special group of RVers with a lot in common. And we just really appreciate that everybody wants to dive in and help, and we're going to make that as warm and welcoming as we possibly can.
I will say though that you use the word organic. That was an organic evolution as well, because when we were in Florida Cavern State Park in Florida, at the end of our first day, we all gathered around a big burn pile and we made this big bonfire, and then it just became part of after the first day, we were all friends. We were all sitting around a fire. We were all telling stories. We all got to meet each other and talk to each other. So it didn't take, there was no forced gatherings or anything like that. We just realized that we need to keep this going because of the three things that we all have in common. We're all going to get along. We're all going to make new friends. And it's not like you were saying, Sandy, it's not like being in when you said making new friends, it's not like you're in an RV park or somewhere else where you may not meet your neighbors because they come in for a few days and they leave. It's not like you work together and you stay together and you kind of partner up and do things. And if you don't like scraping on one day, you can go do something else on another. And so you're building the bonds of friendship while you're on the project. But at the end of the day, if we all have the opportunity to sit around a solo stove or a campfire or something and continue the conversation and group up and stuff, that's the best part ever. So we made that a priority to our projects, is doing these get-togethers, because it really strengthens this whole purpose-driven thing that we're doing.
I love that. And, the other thing for me is kind of seeing the people that we're doing work for, how it impacts them personally,
Right.
Obviously, Marge, I mean, you just can't say enough good things about Marge up at REGI. And, even at Picacho State Park, to see kind of Carolyn, transform from, being skeptical initially, like, hey, we got 32 ramadas for you to paint, and you guys basically saying, all right, what are we going to do after that? And her kind of like, nah, I think
well, let's just wait till we get to that.
Yeah. So, what is it like for you guys as the organizers, kind of, because I think even with Marge, there was some doubt initially, so how does that just validate what you do when you see the impact that you make on these people personally?
Love it.
Yeah, it's the most amazing feeling. I feel like the Grinch who found his heart, and it just expands and grows until it pops out of his chest. That's really how it feels for me and for us, because you weren't there at the very beginning of REGI. So she was, my words are cautiously optimistic. She had group after group and contractor after contractor say they were going to come and do this work, and then they just never showed. Or sometimes people would show, but they really thought the volunteering was going to be handling the birds all day and taking selfies and not, grabbing a hammer or a rake or, starting to do stuff like that. So when we got there, they had ordered no supplies because they really didn't even know if we were going to show up. So when we showed up, you could just see the face of all the people there that were just like, wow, this is amazing. You didn't just show up, but you brought a tribe.
It was hilarious because you guys were interested in joining the project, and we said, we're full. And you were making your way over, and we said, yep, I don't think we're going to have any room for you. We still got you. And then like in the middle of the week or something, we said, okay, we'll take you. It's because they were 3 days delayed in getting materials. And we realized, how are we going to do this enclosure in the remaining 10 work days or 9 work days? And so when you guys showed up on that Sunday, I think it was Sunday, those last 5 days, that's the most work I've ever seen a whole group of people do. And we were literally on top of each other in that passerine enclosure. We had to build, for the listeners, we had the key reason that we went there is that they had this large enclosure which would have supported like a bald eagle or two or some vultures. One half of this enclosure area that they had, there's a walkway in the middle, and there were 2 cages, for lack of a better word, or enclosures. On the right side, there were about 13 vultures, and on the left side, it was kind of empty. There was 1 bald eagle in there, and it was large. And then if you saw the grassy area by REGI, there were a ton of smaller little cages dotting around the grass. And that is where they would put passerines, like American songbirds. 80% of the birds in the US are passerines. They're like songbirds, and they're like robins and different, and finches or whatever like that, or swallows and things like that. And they had all these cages dotting around the grass. And what she wanted to do is she wanted to convert that one large enclosure that had the eagle in it into 6 separate compartments that she could keep all these birds in there, and then do what's called a soft release, where she could open the door, the birds would naturally fly out and then fly up through the existing roofing, which was just open. It was just a bunch of rafters or something. And we had to build this. It's basically building a 6-room building within this large room. And we were on top of each other. We had probably 10 people in there, all doing different things, stepping over each other to get it all done. And did we get it done? Absolutely. But it was so good to see the look, the sheer amazement wash over Marge's face. Yeah. And then they saw it, she realized very quickly, wow, you guys are the real deal. And we saw the same thing at Picacho Peak State Park with Carolyn. She couldn't believe it that within a week, a week and a day, we had all those ramadas painted.
Yeah. So it kind of
beneficial.
For me, you see so much negativity on the news, and you hear all the bad stuff that's going on in the world. And this, from 2 sides, really restores your faith in humanity. I think from our perspective, it's so awesome to see people who just want to show up and help and do good and give back. And that just makes you feel good about people. But then to see the transition on maybe a park or a place that's been disappointed time and time again, and to see their faces when it happened, it came to fruition, and all these people came to help, just to help our little cause. So it's just a whole lot of feel good. It just is so great all the way around.
I gotta mention something because it's kind of funny, but we went to a concert recently. We were invited up to the Rolling Stones concert in Las Vegas, and when we were there and we were walking over the bridge with 60,000 people going back into the Las Vegas Strip, I made a comment, a kind of a political comment. I said, look at all these Republicans and Democrats getting along. And if you think about it, it's the same thing. We have become a divided country, and we've become supercharged by politics and a bunch of other issues over the last couple of years that really don't manifest themselves in the day-to-day lives when we all group together and we're out there, right? It's purely social media, and we're suffering from social media overload. But at all of our projects, you can't tell a Democrat from a Republican, from an independent, for anything. And we're all just friends. We align ourselves to the things we have in common, and we work together side by side to improve the human condition for ourselves and for the organizations that we work with. It's just incredible.
Yeah,
I love it. It's and again, that's one of the reasons why we're all in. And we're looking forward to Lake Charles, and meeting. Seeing people we've met already, and then meeting a whole bunch of new people as well, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
So what's in store for Y2V for 2022? What are the projects that are coming up?
So we've got 5 projects currently booked, and we're in conversation with 2 more to start booking up summer. So our first stop is right on Valentine's Day, and we're going to be going to Van Cleve, Mississippi. There's a place called Jackson County RV Park, and that's going to be our first stop in February.
Yeah, there's a delay for our start because Shar was a candidate as a living liver donor for a friend of hers, but that has been pushed to the right a little bit. So she's still in the, just kind of the wait and see mode or whatever, but we gave ourselves a 3-month break over the holidays in case that was going to come to fruition. It's not right now. So our first project starts in February, and that'll be, all of our projects are 2 weeks in length with about 15 rigs. and we're full there. And then our next project is going to be at Lake Charles, where you guys are going to join us again. That's a state park called Sam Houston Jones State Park. It's in Lake Charles, and that was hit by Hurricane Laura, I believe. It was,
and a few others.
Yeah, that place got hit by all the hurricanes of the last couple of years. So we're going to go down there. They got some boardwalk that got washed out, and so we were looking for some.
They want us to build.
Yep, we were looking for some carpentry trades and some framers and stuff like that, which we got a healthy handful, and you included there, Dan. And we're going to try to see if we can take a bite out of that boardwalk. So they're going to buy all the materials, and we're going to go there.
And then after that, there's a kind of a two-part reason. So we did 3 parks in Tennessee last year or this year because they're the volunteer state, and we did middle West, Tennessee. Middle, yeah, they don't call it Central, they call it Middle Tennessee, West, and East. And they invited us to speak at their volunteer coordinator conference that's going on in Roan Mountain, Tennessee in April.
It's a nationwide, it's the National State Park Volunteer Coordinators Conference.
Now, initially, we thought that we were just going to go and speak for a couple of days and then head out. But because we'd already done so much in Tennessee, the person who asked us to go, she says, while you're there, do you want to do a project? If you're like, okay, twist our arm. So that's actually going to be a Y2V2 project. And this is something new we created this year. We know we have to grow, but we can't be everywhere all the time. So we've created what we call Y2V2, which is where we hand off the reins to an experienced Y2Ver. And we only have repeat volunteers there, so they know the process and the procedures and all the rules and all that stuff. So it's an easier transition. And we're going to do a Y2V2 project right there at Roan Mountain.
Yeah, those projects are usually 6. They're 6 rigs, and we can fluctuate the number a little bit, and it's usually smaller in scale. But because we shifted our model to 1/3 of our volunteers, that for every project, about 1/3 are gonna be repeaters that we open up for repeaters for the experience, and then 2/3 are newbies, so we can keep the influx of newbies coming in, because we saw that we had a growing list of newbies who wanted to come into the projects. Then so making this an exclusive kind of a repeater only opportunity helps us increase the help that we're giving out there with some folks who are salty Y2Vers. And so they're going to work on building some like open sleeping cabins that have a wall that's missing, and it's just bunks for folks to sleep. They need 6 of those. Probably won't be able to do all 6, but we can certainly get the job started, and that's all they really want us to do. So that's Roan Mountain. And then from there, that's in the beginning of April. And then from there, we head up to Michigan.
Yep. So yeah, Michigan.
The help from the groundhog.
Yes, exactly. It has to be a short winter this year. It just has to be.
And that's at Grand Haven State Park on the east side of the lake or whatever, right there. I can't really describe. It's right here. And then it's basically so we're gonna go there and build some they got some prefab
is that one pavilions?
Like, they've got some what do they call those, rotundas or what do they call those things?
Are they like shelters? Pavilions?
No, pavilion. It's like a pavilion. They want a couple of pavilions built.
They have some swing chairs, swing seating, and some ADA picnic tables. And they have said, and actually this is a place that's very well supported by a friends group, of friends of which park is it? Grand Haven State Park. So they have tons of stuff that if we get this done early, they said they've got a nice long list of other things that we can do.
Because we always tell them, Bill, we're going to need a bigger list.
Yeah.
And so that'll be a lot of fun. And then we're going to head back to Nebraska, because we were there this past June. We're going to head back to Nebraska because this old museum, Pioneer Village Museum in Minden, Nebraska, had heard about us when we were working Victoria Springs State Recreation Area as part of Nebraska State Park Centennial Celebration. They hunted down a person who was familiar with Y2V and who knew someone who had done a project with Y2V. They reached out to us, facilitated the conversation. They are a nonprofit This museum was started by a guy named Harold Warp, and he self-funded, self-built this large museum, a huge collection of Americana dating from 1830 on. Vehicles, planes, radios, furnishings, everything, 26 buildings full of Americana, motorcycles. They've got
washing machines. They have one building that is like an 1830s or 18 something bedroom, and then it goes to 1860 and then 1870 and then 18 and all the way through current day. I mean, the time that it would have taken to fill all these rooms with all this stuff, it's American history at its finest.
And if people have not been there, it's Minden, Nebraska. It's basically south of the Interstate 80 between Kearney and Lincoln. Just look for Minden. And it's only a few dollars to get in. Well, when Harold Warp passed away and his family took over, and it was still a private kind of a business, the hope was to continue the upgrades through ticket sales. Well, that never happened, and through just circumstances over the last several decades, the place fell into disrepair. The collection is immaculate and spectacular, but some of the roofs need re-roofing. They have an old steam carousel that had kind of fallen into disrepair. Everyone in the area remembers riding that as a kid. And so they asked, and their campground needs a lot of work. So they asked us if we would be willing to come in and help give them a refresh. And we said, absolutely. So we attended their meeting via Zoom. We set the wheels in motion. After Healdton, Oklahoma, we went up and met them, stayed there for a week and kind of looked around. And that project's going to happen in May. So we are so excited to do the project there, which is already full as well. Is it full?
All of our projects are full.
Yeah, in Minden, Nebraska, and we're going to be there for 2, with the potential that if something big is happening, that we have the ability to really take it to the next level. Maybe we'd stay there a little bit longer, but right now we're set for 2 weeks there in May.
And that's the last one we have booked right now. We've got a couple other states that we're talking to, like we said. So we're just trying to pin down the dates again so that they can go in between busy times and find a 2-week period where we're not going to be taking revenue and getting in the way of their busy season, visitors.
Minnesota, we're going to have to time that one well.
Yeah, that one's, I hope, is going to be a summer project. So
it's hot up there too. Ooh.
Well, it's the coolest place in the country though.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the plan for right now. So we're booked out for basically the first half of 2022, and right about now is when we start working on the last half. Now planning becomes a little bit slower, because of the holidays. Also, people just don't have their new budgets yet. So a lot of times they just don't know what they're going to be working with. So we'll start the conversations now, and we'll probably start wrapping them up at the beginning of the year. So we should have a few more on the calendar very soon.
That's cool. And so you said that all your projects are filled, but if there's any of my listeners out there who do want to get involved, there's waiting lists for every project because something can always end up coming up this far in advance. So for people who want to try to get involved, newbies, walk us through the process for any of my listeners out there who want to volunteer with you guys.
I would say step number 1 is go to our website at yeartovolunteer.com. All of our projects are listed there. And then also, if you want to be in the know and you want to be the first to know what's coming up and what's new, sign up for our newsletter. That's where we announce all of our upcoming new projects. And as you said, Dan, even if we're full, please sign up anyway. We've had projects where half of the people were from the wait list.
Montana.
Yeah, Montana. I mean, half of the people there, and that was a 30 person project. Half of the people came from the wait list because family things happen, RV things happen, weather happens. Sometimes you just get steered in a different course and you're not going to be where you thought you were. So we always say, and also if somebody can't sign up, like they're not certain that they can make that project, sign up anyway. Again, you're going to make somebody very happy on the wait list.
If you end up not being able to come.
If you wait until you're certain that you're going to be in the same time at the same place, you're probably going to miss the boat and not get in because these projects do fill up within a couple of weeks. It's pretty quick, but we love wait lists, and we are more than happy to pop you on a wait list if it's full. But we always say, don't delay, sign up today.
Yeah.
To make sure you get an opportunity to get in if something opens up.
And right now we can't foresee how that's going to be any different, because at least this year we hope to increase the number of Y2V2 projects we have for repeaters, but then we're just the two of us, so we're about maxed out for our ability to organize projects and stuff. So the wait list function, we can't overemphasize the importance of that, because that's where we really, and people, if you could just stay flexible, then, you know, chances are that you're going to jump onto a project or something like that. So that's the first step, is to go to our wait list, and you can go to our webpage, scroll all the way down to the bottom, sign up for our newsletter. It comes out every month where we advertise our projects when they first come out. And then, you know, we've got a Facebook presence for A Year to Volunteer. We also have our YouTube page, where if people are really curious about what we do and how we do it, we post our videos on our projects. We try to do, we were doing 2 videos per project, and now we're doing it all in one, but they really do encapsulate exactly what we did and how we did it over that 2-week thing. So you can see the friendships that we make and the way that we do business and stuff. And hopefully that's attractive to your listeners, so they can jump on a project and just kind of meet us. It's truly extraordinary. We love it every single time.
And you guys know, yeah, we do work really hard during the day, but we don't go 8 to 5 or 8 to 6. You know, we start around 9 and we end around 3, and we take a break in between, and then we rest for a couple of hours, and then game on for fun time, you know. And so we really work hard, but we make it fun, and we have a great time, and we make friendships for life. And it's just a good combination of work and play.
Yeah, it's like social RVers with a volunteering problem, right? We do, I think if we hit 5 hours per day per volunteer or whatever while we're doing it, man, you can't ask for more than that. It's 25 hours a week or something like that. You know, I mean, we really don't worry about, some people work longer, some people want to get started earlier, whatever. We just roll with it and see what we can do. And to a project, we've always done way more than they expected. And we've done amazing things. And I just think that that's just the nature of the RVers that are out there. It's great. Yeah.
Hardworking, good people.
No doubt about it. So we're just about out of time. Anything we didn't cover that you guys want to throw out there for my listeners?
Good question.
If you're going to sign up for a project, send us an email, ayeartovolunteer@gmail.com. Feel free to ask questions. And by the way, you don't have to come the whole time. If you can come for a week or a day, that's fine. We get that not everybody can commit for 2 weeks, but like you guys, spot opened up and you had a week available, and so you showed up for the last week. If somebody wants to help, we're going to find a way to get you in and let you help. So
and if you can't volunteer, but you are interested in supporting us, our webpage also has donate buttons splashed on there where you can donate. It's a very easy system. PayPal typically is how we do it. You can go on and give a little bit, or whatever you'd like. Every little bit helps, and because all of those 100% of our proceeds that we raise as part of our nonprofit go directly into our projects. If it's not a tool, a material, a supply, it may be one of our potluck meals that we do. We try to do a meal every project, and hopefully we'll increase that to at least a breakfast, at least a lunch, and at least a dinner. So we'll take as little or as much as you want to give, and we're so grateful for all of the support.
Yeah, I know sometimes people think like my $10 isn't going to help. It does, because that $10 is added with everybody else's $10, and $1 makes a big difference. Every supply is different. Sometimes we have to buy a paintbrush. Other times we need to buy some sandpaper. And so just any little bit counts. Just like we say at a project, if you can show up for an hour, that makes a difference, and every penny makes a difference as well.
Yeah.
I love that. So, I know this is our second podcast. I asked you guys this question on the first one, but I will ask it again because the subtitle of the podcast is Many Little People in Many Little Places, which comes from opening lyrics of a song, which go in many little people in many little places, do many little things, and the whole world changes. So want to ask you guys, and again, it certainly doesn't have to be the same answer as it was a few months ago, because I think that's the beauty of it, is it's the many little things that we all can do to make the world a little bit better place. So, what are, some of the little things that Phil and Shar are doing to make the world a little bit better place every day?
I think our focus has always been improving the human condition. We're eating the elephant one bite at a time. We are doing our part to make our statement, to have our impact, and hopefully through the course of our journey, we will inspire other people to do the same. We know that we have friends who have joined us on our projects, who have branched off and doing amazing things on their own. They've been captured by this spirit of giving and helping, and they've channeled that energy into continuing to add that as part of their full-time journey. So I think we are doing our part to improve the human condition in as little, we're only 23,000 hours in 2 years is pretty good. But in the grand scheme of things, it's a drop in the bucket of what could be, what is needed in our country.
Yeah. And, as a general rule, I mean, I make an effort, we both make an effort every day to just give somebody a compliment, to open a door. While we're here in Arizona, we're going to find a place that needs some trash picked up. Those are the little things that add up to big things. If everybody just picked up after themselves, every place would be so much, prettier and better and cleaner, and more people would visit. But not everybody does. So if there's another group of people that come in behind them and just do a little bit of trash pickup, or, just little things that make people smile and feel better, all those little things add up to be big things, and every little bit matters.
Definitely a message that we want to send out there, that find it in your heart to do those little things. If that means you're driving and you need to let that person in, or let that person turn, or just little acts of kindness like that will change the way you live your life and will grow. And a year to volunteer, people sometimes assume that we're out for a year. We're not. We're asking people to give a day or 365 days of their lives to volunteering. That's a solid year. And if that's a day per month for 30 years, you're going to get there. If it's a week here or a week there per year, you're going to get there, in a number of years. But just if you find it in your heart to do the little things, the world will be a better place.
I think you notice good things when you're doing good things. I've noticed that when I make an effort to open doors, somehow somebody's always opening the door for me. And so it's kind of contagious that way. And when you start to focus on the good stuff, you notice more good stuff is happening.
Very true. You manifest it.
Exactly.
Yep.
Honey, what's one of the little things you do every day to make the world a better place? I didn't know I was going to ask you that.
No, yeah, yeah. Just be nice.
That's a big one.
I have in the past taken a bag and it picked up trash along the way.
Yeah, this next week, after Thanksgiving, is Giving Tuesday. So that's a good start. If people would like to just take that step, even if they're not, contributing money or their time, volunteering at an organization, doing those random acts of kindness go a long way. This past Christmas, we did a little 12 days of giving. I think our little 12 days of Christmas video. People should take a look at that, because we took that whole 12 days of Christmas and did like 11, I remember.
11 doors we opened. I don't
12,
remember which.
I think Starbucks.
Oh, that's what it was. We bought 12 people coffee at Starbucks.
Well, we basically paid for their order. So we stood there and we watched and we counted people who ordered at a drive-through at a Starbucks, and they came through. Some folks got coffee. Some bought 6 coffees and some sandwiches, and we paid for 12 customers all in a row. And then we took it to 10, and then we took it 9, and then we kept going. So take a look at that little video to give you a little bit of inspiration to what you can do on Giving Tuesday and beyond.
Yeah, Giving Tuesday is not just about giving money. It's just giving kindness, like you said, Sandy. And that grows, that perpetuates itself. And yeah, it's just open a door for somebody, give somebody a compliment, say thank you and be grateful to someone for something, pick up a piece of trash, just make some little extra effort on Giving Tuesday to be kind.
I'm going to go watch that video again.
I'm going to watch it later today.
Oh, you guys will love it. The 12 days of giving was really fun. We went to a fire to a fire station and a police station and a homeless shelter.
Don't judge our singing ability.
No, it was not good.
I never will. No. Awesome. Well, love connecting with you guys. Can't wait to see you again. Hopefully in Florida before Lake Charles. But again, this is what it's all about, is being able to have these connections, being able to grab lunch with you guys when we were in Phoenix. That's really what it is, about the connection, first and foremost. So love sharing the story. Again, website for anybody that wants to check you guys out one more time.
ayeartovolunteer.com, and you can find us across all the social media platforms with the name A Year to Volunteer. You should be able to find us.
Awesome. And for my listeners out there, be sure to check out my blogs and other podcasts at danclouser.com. Phil and Shar, thank you guys so much for taking the time to do another podcast, and keep doing what you guys are doing.
You got it.
Thanks. You guys too. We'll see you soon.
We'll see.